Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we are at the home of Gail King, an extraordinary Long Island woman who has accomplished and overcome so much in her life. She's worked as an educator, she's currently a model, actress, talk show host, and a former Miss Senior America. But most importantly, she is a breast cancer survivor. Hi, Gail.
Hi.
Great to have you here today.
Thank you for coming.
And thank you for having us. A beautiful home that you have.
My pleasure.
So thank you. So I'd like to start off. You are new to the talk show genre. Welcome aboard.
Oh, I am new to it. Thank you so much.
How long have you been hosting Making a Difference with Gail?
Less than 4 months, actually.
Wow.
Yes, but
And you have some
love
amazing
it.
guests, too.
Thank you. The idea was to bring on people who are doing such good in our community and to acknowledge them, thank them, and actually it's turned out to be a huge networking event.
Wow. And you film your show right here on Long Island. It's at Madhouse Studios.
I do Madhouse TV.
We were talking a little bit before the show,
We
some of the
were.
funny things that go on behind the scenes.
Oh my goodness, it's a great place to film, and it's just a tremendous area that you can get people in, share what's going on, talk about it, and just learn so much at the same time.
You have a lot of inspirational stories. Your show, it's very similar to
you.
ours. You know, we try to give back and make the community aware of certain situations, as you do as well. Who are some of your guests and
Oh
some
my
of the
goodness.
inspirational stories that you share on your
It
show?
really runs the gamut. I mean, I recently had on Bob Policastro from Angela's house.
Oh, wow.
And a wonderful man and a wonderful story. And it's based, a lot of times it's based on adversity and all the good that can come out of it. But I've had so many different types of guests. I also had Angel Huertas, who grew up, actually had a $15,000 a day
Wow.
drug business. He had been abused as a child, and he turned his entire life around and now gives back and makes sure that everybody in his community is doing well. So it runs the gamut. I've had patients, people who had brain, cancer. I've had people who are making a difference in speech. You name it, we have it.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank
13 weeks and you're
you.
doing amazing and
Thank you
really
so
giving back to the
much.
community. And that's something I want to talk to you about as well. You
Sure.
are a breast cancer survivor. It is October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You were very young actually when you discovered it, and you discovered it on your own. How did you do
I
that?
did discover it on my own. I had found the lump. But what I want to share with you, first of all, is that I don't even say survivor, I say thriver. And I tease because I say that is a survivor with attitude. And I think, Jason, by now you know I've got plenty of
Yes,
that.
that you do, honey. We spoke
So,
several
yeah,
times.
We did. But I did discover it. I had gone to a graduate course at Stony Brook, and Sally had come out, and she was talking about doing self-exams. Now, we're talking about in the 70s.
Where there was
didn't
no
talk-
mammograms.
No mammogram. There was no cell phone. We didn't even have really cable vision. There were
Yeah.
no support groups, no MRIs. There was nothing like that. And I knew I hadn't been feeling well. When I went into the bathtub and I examined myself the way that she had taught me to, I did indeed find a lump. I went into Stony Brook University, it's graduate school. I went in to look at books to find out what it could possibly be. And I went to a few doctors, and it really was dismissed at the start.
Wow.
The odds were 10,000 to 1 that it would indeed be a cancer. There was no history in my family. I wasn't quite 26 years old. I didn't smoke or drink. I was fit. I really didn't fit the profile.
No. So how did it feel when doctors were denying what you knew in your heart that you had? Because you went through several doctors
I
before
went to almost
you finally
5.
got it.
That
Wow.
is correct. It was frustrating, to say the very least. You know, we know our bodies better than anybody. And that's one of the lessons and one of the areas that I share with others. You know when there's something amiss, and I knew it. I felt relief, and of course I was upset because it was Easter Sunday, and the next day I was to have a mastectomy. But I
Wow.
did feel relief that indeed something was found, and now I could get myself on the road to recovery.
Wow. So when you were in that bathroom and you were doing your own examination
Yes.
and you discovered that, what was your initial reaction?
I was surprised, and I thought, could I be wrong? Did I do the test wrong? I took the soap 4 or 5 times. In fact, Barry Manilow was playing in the background, and I'll always, when I hear him, I still think of that moment. But I do remember thinking I have to make an appointment, and I do have to have it checked. But again, I went to a general practitioner. That's who I went to for doctors. And they really didn't know what to say, what to do.
They didn't have
They dismissed it.
mammograms.
No, come back in a few months. If it's still there, then we'll do a biopsy. And that, unfortunately, is how I did discover it. Had the biopsy, I awakened, and
Wow.
that's how I found out. Today, though, there is so much positivity. There are support groups. You could go in, you can have implants put in, and again, it's a different time period. I was concerned that people would think that they could catch it. And as a teacher at that time, there were students who thought they could.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, back then, I mean, we really didn't have the technology.
Yeah.
As you said, there was no mammograms. There was no medicine. Wasn't what it is
No.
today.
And even in my family, do not talk about it. Nobody has to know about it. Well, when you're shopping and you're going in and prosthesis, it's very, very sad, very uncomfortable. And I will always remember the woman who sold it to me in Patchogue looked at me and burst into tears because I was so young and she didn't expect it. So I found myself comforting other people. For me, it was about, at that point, staying alive. That was more significant than anything.
So how was your treatment after you had the mastectomy done? You had a double mastectomy.
No, I had a mastectomy.
Just one, okay.
I just had it on the one side, but I also had to have grafting because you can see there's not much to me, but I was about 90 pounds and I
Wow.
kept losing weight. Hair was falling out. My skin wasn't right. My energy level was so poor. My students had even noticed a difference.
And those are the things that can make any woman give up. I mean, how did it feel for you to go through that? Your hair falling out, not feeling like you should as a young, vibrant
Yeah,
woman.
absolutely. I knew that something was wrong, and that as soon as they told me what it was and what we're going to do about it, then I knew I'd be on the road to recovery. I had a tremendous support group. So many teachers from Sachem came in to visit me. Flowers were brought. I was there for almost 4 weeks. Again, it was different times.
Right.
And I had infections, and the grafting got infected. And then, I was hooked up to machines. But the support, it was just wonderful. I also took flowers and I dispensed it to other patients. And it was a different time period. We're talking about Southside Hospital in Bayshore during the 70s. People would come in the room, they were smoking, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
That was the way that it was. My dad had to say no smoking around her. She's turning green. She just came out of surgery, for heaven's sakes. I also read to students in the hospital, the children that were in the hospital. I shouldn't say students. I was high school teacher, but children that were in the hospital. And again, it took me away from what I was going through. The other thing that happened is that my mom brought in this beautiful white peignoir set. Now, because I was so young, I probably didn't understand all the ramifications of what I was going through. I believe, as many young people, that you're infallible. So I never saw myself giving up and was going to die. It was only when I heard other people talking about it and people coming in and crying that I realized the seriousness of the situation. My mom brought me a peignoir set, put a pink, white ribbon rather in my hair. I looked like a bride, I thought. And with my machines, I literally walked around the hospital.
Aw.
And because of that, people were so kind to me. They were cheering for me. They were rooting for me. The other area of strength is my dad. My dad has long watching me from heaven. But my dad was a Golden Glover, and he taught me you never give up. He, along with Winston Churchill, and that has been my motto ever since.
Was there ever a time that you felt like you were going to give up? Like,
No,
were there ever
no.
days where you're like, I just can't take this anymore?
No. Well, and I'll tell you what happened that helped me so much. First of all, the belief of everybody coming in. I felt like I had to be a role model for not only my students, but for people, colleagues, saying, Gail, look at you. And the more I heard that, the more I basked in that, the more I felt like I could do it. My dad came in to visit me, and when everybody left and the excitement was starting to die down, if you will, my dad turned and I said to him, nobody around, Dad, you've never lied to me, my best friend. I need to hear from you. Am I going to live? Am I going to make it? And he looked at me, he turned around and he said, you are. And I said, but how could you be so sure? And he said, that I'm not going to die. And he said, because I won't let you. And with that, this former Golden Glover with a heart of gold limped out of the room, but he just went, And that was the impetus for me, Jason. That was it.
And he was absolutely correct.
That was the turning point for me. I would never let him down. The next day, I asked the doctors for this a tennis ball. And this was the side, before I had the implants. But this was the side. So I would take the tennis ball and I would squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it 500 times. Thinking, again, of my dad. I
Right.
didn't want to let him down. A year later, I threw the ball up in the air and I won my first doubles tournament.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So
You were so fortunate and lucky, and I truly believe as well that it was you not giving up and you fighting strong. You look like
Absolutely.
you're a fighter. I've known you a very short time. We've even worked together and didn't even realize it one
right,
time.
on different TV shows. Absolutely. I think there's a time to fight. I'm not a fighter by nature. I really don't like to fight. But there's a time when you have to bring it. There's a time when you know that you've got to take all your reserves and use them. And this was the time. So what did I do? Surrounded myself with positivity. I read jokes. All in the Family was the show at the time. That's how far back we go. I would laugh. I would ask people to not come in if they were going to cry, but instead what I wanted to hear were inspiring stories.
And above all, you were only given a 30% chance of survival.
That's correct.
Wow, so what was it like to hear those words that doctors didn't expect you to make it?
Defy the odds, don't believe it, believe in myself, and know what I'm capable of.
Wow, amazing. And then shortly after, how long did it take you to return to yourself?
I went back to school a few weeks later, taped from here to here, because I wanted everybody to understand I'm still me. It was important for my students to see me as a person, not as somebody who had had the mastectomy, who had cancer. Very important, particularly different classes that were so concerned about me. They had to know that I was okay. And in fact, they gave me a standing ovation when I went back.
Oh, so great. And you spent 35 years educating people.
I did.
And now you still continue to travel, giving speeches
Yes.
all these years later. And I don't say that to date you. It was a long time ago, yes, but
Miss Senior America, we know how old I am.
or we have an idea. We don't know exactly.
No problem.
Not important. You're still gorgeous as ever. But now you travel all around and giving these speeches to try
I
to
do.
motivate these women that
I
may
do.
be affected.
Absolutely. And I tell people, first I won the New York pageant, then I won as Miss Senior America. And I say I'm a winner, not because I came in first in the beauty pageant, but rather because of the way in which I live my life and how I use that title to get out there. I speak before different groups. One group might be women who are undergoing chemotherapy, who are undergoing treatment, or maybe a group that has to go through cancer treatment.
Right.
It may be another group of husbands or wives that need to know, what is it like? My husband died of pancreatic cancer, so I've also been a caregiver. So I've gone through that, and I believe I was given all this really to impart to help other people. It's helped me. I have learned that there are people who do not like to talk about what they've gone through. I'm not one such person. I like to share it because I think it does help others, but I do respect those who are private, absolutely.
Do you find that all this time later, still talking about your personal experience, that it still helps you and still makes you a stronger person?
I believe it does, but I think what gives me strength is having a 15-year-old come up and touch me and say, I'm about to go through a double mastectomy.
Wow, at
And
15.
15, Tennessee.
Wow.
And I so admire you, and I want to be like you. The question is not how can you speak about it, how could you not speak about it? That's the question. How can you not give back? How can you not pay forward and help other people?
Wow, amazing. And again, you use that title, Miss Senior America, to promote all this awareness and help these other women
Yes,
that are
and
struck.
to keep fit and to make sure that when people see me, first they see me and they say, Senior America, and then they hear my story, and it gives them hope. There's a choice between hope and hopelessness. How about you? I go for hope.
Yes, that is your choice, absolutely. It should be everyone's choice, always continue to fight no matter what life deals you. Let's face it, life throws us a lot of curveballs.
Absolutely. But by keeping a positive attitude, and I always say maintaining a balance spiritually, physically, and emotionally.
We were talking a little bit before the show, and you had mentioned that you love going around and promoting all this awareness and sharing your stories. It's not really work for you. It's something very pleasurable
It's a
for you.
pleasure, and it's one of those things where I'm getting more than what I'm giving. I donate the monies and my time to charities. but I'm getting so much more back in return.
Wow.
I mean, I've done, the TV shows, done the movies, been on the cover. This to me is something that you can't buy. This is something that's going to make a difference. Well, there she is, plugging her show. But it really is going to make a difference in the life of another person. And thinking positive thoughts. Yes.
Wow, amazing. And you've also started a second career on top. As we mentioned a little bit, you do television shows, you've done movies. We've even done some of the same shows together.
We have. You want to do a Law and Order? I've done that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually,
What do you love about the acting field? Let me ask you that.
Well, I think when I went in, I thought, my goodness, I'm getting paid, and there's Angelina Jolie right next to me. Well, here I am.
That's how I felt about Julia Roberts.
Okay, and I'm getting paid for this, and I just see that everybody is just like everybody else. So I know a little bit of the glamour was taken away from it.
Yeah.
What I like about it is the exposure to meet so many people. It's fun.
It is.
Commercials. I've done infomercials. I think it really is fun.
It is. And I don't know, maybe for you it's different, but when I watch movies now after doing The Normal Heart, which is premiering on HBO in February of next year, when you watch movies now, it kind of takes a little something away because you see how
That's
they
what
do
I'm
it,
saying.
so it's a little
know.
different. And I know when I did
Right.
movie, I've done a soap opera and I've done the movie, soaps move so much quicker. Like,
Yes.
we were already 85 pages in within 5 hours of being on
Incredible.
set. And on the movie set, you're lucky you do 3 pages a
Oh
day.
my gosh, you start very, very early. You're there 4 o'clock in the morning. When I did Pan Am,
5
I was-
a.m., so I got to sleep
Yeah.
in a little.
I was selected to do a dance on Pan Am, and the question, I was pulled out. They're different people, and if they like your look for a particular scene, and can you dance? And I said, can I dance? Okay. And then I found out it was the waltz. I'm a lyrical ballet dancer, which is what I had done in the pageant. But fortunately for me, the person they paired me with could dance, and also fortunate, the star of the show couldn't. So at
Oh,
8 o'clock
okay.
in the morning, they brought in a professional dancer. So I watched, and then the next thing I knew, they loved it. I closed the show.
Wow, that's so amazing.
But you wouldn't recognize me because I look so different in every single show. Hair up, hair back, makeup, outfit. It's
It's a different world.
It's fun.
It is,
But
and-
it's a different world. The food is fabulous.
Yes,
on
it
set.
is.
That
Oh,
I
we
will
went to
say.
this really great sushi place when I did the soap Tainted Dreams.
Okay.
It's made up,
Yeah.
of like the All My Children, One Life to Live General Hospital cast, which
Right,
was
right.
phenomenal. And, people say that you could pass for Susan Lucci, and I could absolutely see it. Absolutely. But the
Well,
sushi place was just
yeah.
delicious. I mean, that's probably
Yes.
the best part of the whole day.
But how about when you're on set? 30 Rock, I wasn't allowed to touch the food. And they had.
Because it was part of the
chop-
scene,
they had
unfortunately.
chopsticks, right? And I had them upside down. I think
When
they
I
cut
go to
that
certain
out.
places, they have to give me the little training wheels because I don't know how to use it. So I get the ones with the rubber band on top.
Right. Oh, so funny. So funny. But you know what? But because it is October coming up, it is October Breast Cancer Awareness. One of the things I do want to impart is that I'd like people, men and women, to check themselves.
Yes.
We have this idea that it's just women. I've also met men who have also had breast cancer.
Right, men don't
And
realize it.
many times, with women having your mastectomy, you can now have implants. And that's also important.
Right.
But you have to make the decision. It's your choice. Don't be forced into anything that makes you uncomfortable. Make it something that you want to do. Eat properly. Get yourself rest. Make sure you're in a proper frame of mind. And then pay it forward. Take that information and help the next person, because you never know where you're going to end up.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's no wonder you hold the title of Miss Senior America. I mean, there's just so many wonderful qualities about you that you're
Yeah,
using those to
thank you.
better the world and better everybody else. I mean, what was it like for you to win that title?
It was surreal. During the New York pageant, I kept talking because I never heard my name, and I was just yakking. Then I realized this is big time. It's all the winners from each state going into the entire country.
It's a national
So
title.
yes, so I went to Victor Moore. I worked on my ballet 2 hours a day. I actually had blisters that bled, and went into it. And I enjoyed it. It was just a surreal moment, though. I was happy to make the top 10, then the top 5, and then the 2
Wow.
people. And so when I see the Miss America and I see the 2 contestants, I understand that. I really do.
It's amazing. It's quite an honor, I'm sure.
Thank you. It really is an honor. But the best thing is that it gives me a chance to speak. I also am for animals. I speak about
Yes.
ageism, our veterans. I just did a public service announcement that's going all over for the G program as far as
Fantastic.
hurricanes, and that's going to continue. I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
So look at the opportunity that I'm being given
It's
to help so many
amazing.
people. How could you not use that?
There was so much devastation last year with Hurricane
Oh my
Sandy, and it was
gosh.
right around October Breast Cancer Awareness
It was,
Month. And
yes.
every year, Gurney's Inn in Montauk throws a wonderful event to benefit breast cancer, and the proceeds go to the Breast Cancer Research Fund. Unfortunately, they didn't have the turnout they wanted last year because that's when Hurricane
Because
Sandy
that's when
had
it happened.
happened.
My event was canceled in the city
Yes.
because of it.
And this year it
Right.
is November 8th. I would just like to point that out. So anybody that's interested in attending, please come
Very
show
good.
your support on November 8th.
I'll be there.
And Gail will be there as well. You can meet her in person as well as we will be there, the Jason
Yay.
Galka Show. And for more information, you can certainly visit gurneysin.com. But getting back to you, Gail, and you know, being Miss Senior America and
Yes.
holding this title in your infomercials, I mean, what is it like to be able to, you know, have those opportunities to put out there to people and help so many?
There's a little bit of pressure because I always want to do the best I can. You know, it's like having guests on my show.
Mhm.
I want to honor them. And it's the same in this situation as well. I want to be able to do the best that I could do to impart the information and to help another person. And you know what, Jason, if I know I've helped but one, then I know
you've
at
done
least
your
I've
job.
done my job.
Absolutely.
I can't save the world, but if I can save one and that person can go on to the next person, then we know that we've done something correct.
Absolutely.
But yes, and so far the reaction has been very positive, and that's what keeps me going.
Congratulations. And you
Yeah.
also do it live. I don't know how you do it. I'd be biting my nails.
Just like we're doing it. Well, I think you get used to it, and I
Mhm.
think what you have to do is just be spontaneous. I think from the heart. Try to filter every so often, but definitely think from the heart. And it's as if I'm having just a conversation, which I love having with you right
Oh,
now.
thank you so much.
Yeah, it's like being, you know, in a chatting, right?
So what is next for you, Gail? I mean, what are some of your events that you're
Okay, I
attending
have
in the
quite
upcoming
a few.
months?
I am going to be a pinup model for
Huh?
Moms Who Kick and a fashion show coming up.
Great.
I will be this Saturday. Well, this Saturday we'll have passed with the show, but I do quite a few shows for Mickey B, the Prince of
Oh,
Rock
yes,
and Roll.
yes.
I collect money and I do
Mhm.
some speeches there. In Image Magazine, I have a 2-page spread coming out for the month of October, and I'm talking about gratitude, talking about cancer and gratitude. What do I have to be thankful for? What can we be thankful for whether we're diagnosed?
Absolutely.
So I think that's very significant. And another public address, I'm going to be doing that as well, and a few shows. So I have quite a
Fantastic.
bit going on.
Oh,
and
that's
I have
wonderful.
2 grandchildren too.
Oh, so that keeps you busy.
It does. It definitely
And that's how you
does.
stay so fit and gorgeous, too.
Thank you so much. I think that you tend to stay fit when you think thin, and when you're active, and when you're doing something for other people.
And here's a little secret that you may not know about Gail because she doesn't show it. She loves sweets and chocolates. Me, I just look at it and I gain the weight from it.
And I eat a cake a day usually.
I don't know where you put it, but that's fabulous. More power to you, honey.
Thanks.
Gail, thank you so much. This
Oh,
has
my
been such an
pleasure.
incredible
That went so
show.
fast,
It
Jason.
always does when you're
Oh,
having
that
fun.
means that's a great show.
It
then.
was. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well.
But one final question.
Sure.
For all those viewers at home that might be going through breast cancer or going through treatment that haven't heard your speech, what is a little piece of advice you can give them?
If I say it, you must never give up, no matter what.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gail. And once again, if you'd like to join us at Gurney's Inn on November 8th, please do so. It is the annual Breast Cancer Research Fund fundraiser. And this year it is also benefiting the Women's Coalition at Southampton Hospital. Gail, thank you once again.
Thank
If you have
you.
anything you'd like to share with us here at the Jason Galka Show, send us an email, thejasonshow@yahoo.com. And as always, I thank you at home for watching. See you next time.